When I say Earth is round, you're not being open-minded by saying, you know, I wonder if it could also be flat. We learned in the last 15 years that, of course, not only do we exist in this universe, it is the universe itself that exists within us.
Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated.
In times of crisis, the role of governments is more important and more relevant than ever.
You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations.
But the system we have now has actually broken down, only we haven't quite recognized it. And so you need to create a new one. And this is the time to do it. And to look into constructive ways we can build our common future.
You might like to write these down. Rationalism. Rationalism really born out of the philosophers. The idea of reasoning. Very much, of course, back in the, I think it was the 17th century and late 18th century Enlightenment, when men began to wake up to various ideas. And of course it was expressed in poetry and expressed in art. With rationalism, it has that, the base of rationalism is that it has no emotion in it. It has no sense of instinct. It develops through the mind. It's basically opinions that are based on man's knowledge and fed to the masses. A form of rationalism, a form of ideology. There are all kinds of ideas that are rational, but they have no supernatural element to them. Intellectualism, power of the mind to analyze rather than to recognize the spiritual reality. The idea of picking apart something with your mind and coming up with a certain idea, again, devoid of emotion. Usually somebody that intellectualizes has a rather dead spirit. They don't have that sense of anything that could be outside of the box. It all has to fit into neat little packages, related directly to rationalism. But intellectualism has a snobbishness about it. It has a sense of pride about it. And looking at the false prophet, he's been at work, the spirit of the false prophet. I'm not saying necessarily only the actual man, the false prophet, but the spirit of the false prophet, as I'm alluding to the title here, is really the spirit that has been pervading the world. And as we know, many antichrists, many false prophets have gone out into the world and are now going out into the world. But intellectualism, using the power of rational thinking, intellectualism and rationalism, the power of the mind, environmentalism. Environmentalism is a false concept of protecting the earth against what they consider or what is considered to be harmful. We know, of course, that carbon is now the new enemy. Global powers want to get rid of carbon, don't they? They want us to all not be using any fossil fuels. The idea, the concept that we can destroy or get rid of the very basis of life. You are then the fount of all knowledge. And of course this was seen back in Genesis, wasn't it? We can't let man build that tower, and we can't let them get to that stage, because what does Scripture say in Genesis? There'll be nothing impossible for them to not achieve. And of course this is the stated goal of the World Economic Forum. It's the stated goal of many billionaires. There are many thoughts about Mr. Musk. The transhuman agenda, the idea of merging biology and technology. And of course the technocrats, this is what they're planning in their smart cities and their smart workplaces. Of course, everything becomes smart, doesn't it? The Internet of Things. Everything tracked, everything traced, everything monitored, everything presented to this new God, the God of the cloud. Not the God that's coming in the clouds, the God of the cloud.
Elon Musk is, of course, a Twitter power user. It's one of his primary ways of engaging the world overall, and has not only moved stock and cryptocurrency markets, but also, again, stoked the ire of a lot of regulators, some of whom believe his tweets could amount to some kind of market manipulation. So it's not perhaps out of the realm of reason he could want a piece of Twitter. But, Aaron, this also comes, of course, less than a couple of weeks after Musk tweeted, of all things, a very sharp criticism of Twitter for not promoting free speech. So a very, very interesting drama building around Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and of course now Twitter.
This merger of idea, this merger of thought is all preparing itself for the coming of those two men, the false prophet and the Antichrist. Wherever there's a truth, there's a lie. Wherever there's something real, there's something counterfeit. And the two are drawing very close together now. And it's going to be more and more difficult to discern between the two. But there is a preparation. That preparation is taking place now. The spirit of Antichrist is in the world. As it says in John, there have been many Antichrists and there have been many false prophets. But we're beginning to see now that we're coming to a stage where that trinity of evil is going to rise its head. The beast, the Antichrist, the second beast, the false prophet, all powered by the dragon, Satan. And they've been shaping our world, especially over the last 2 years. And I just pray that we can all be alert to what's going on, because things are changing so rapidly, so quickly. We need that discernment from the Lord more than ever. We need to walk closely with Him.
It doesn't matter whether it's in 6 minutes, 6 days, or 6 weeks. We're going to get it done.
Here is the patience and faith of the saints.
I really believe that if you can imagine it, and not fantasy, just, daydream, but if it becomes a part of you, if it is something that you conceive in your imagination, you can give birth to it. It can be done.
Take care, Fisherman in a Box.
Yeah.